The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
We have Mike from Chicago on the line, and he has a question about digestion.
Hi, Mike.
Hey guys, happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
First of all, I just wanted to say that I love the show. I think it's great programming, and I'm very much of a like mind when it comes to taking control of your own health and certainly doing your own research.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico de Haan and Paige Clarke.
Happy Friday and welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, wild world to take back control of our personal choices, health, and freedoms. I'm Nico de Haan. Paige is out today. She's with Dr. Marshall doing some workshops things, so she should be bringing back some great information when she comes back. So I miss her. I'm here by myself, but I'm going to entertain you guys and tell you that it's a beautiful day here in downtown Clearwater. In fact, it's like 75 degrees. It's cool. We got dry air. Man, it's just like, I guess it's probably the last cool week we'll have before summer hits us, which will be starting in June for us and get up to 90 degrees again. Please subscribe to our Health Signals newsletter. I got a brand new one coming out to you right now, and it's loaded with things that you really need to know if you want to have any concerns about your health, the future of humanity, in fact. A lot of really cool stuff in there this time. And please pick up some Primal Edge, our daily nutrition. We're really having real good success with this. It's a really good product, well researched, and the science behind it has really shown us that I think we're on the right track. And you start taking it, you start feeling better about yourself, and also it really adds to all the vitamins and minerals that you ever want to take, and it's delivered to you, and you're going to be ensured that 100% of these ingredients get to do the job in your body. So please pick that up. You can do this all on the Tiger Financial News Network, TFNN.com, and please give us a call. The number here is 877-927-6648. You know, a lot of people are taking over-the-counter medications, of course. This is really what we do here in America. We take a lot of drugs, whether they're legal, illegal. But there are some drugs out there that we take kind of and not even think about it, and one of them is Tylenol. And Tylenol has really been shown to, well, let me read this. Just take a Tylenol. This might as well be the American mantra. It is perspective that, whoops, I lost it for a second. Our bodies are full of annoying symptoms that can be suppressed by drugs. And there's a new study out, and it's called Over-the-Counter Relief from Pains and Pleasures Alike document. There's new concerns that at a set of, well, I can't even say it, you know, Tylenol, the ingredients in Tylenol has been called the zombification of America. This is kind of disturbing. It's really, the tests have been showing that you're kind of dumbing down your brain. Of course, don't we see this happening everywhere? We see dementia, we see Parkinson's disease, and I think this is not only Tylenol. We're also talking about things like all these over-counter, especially the pain medications, like Tylenol, like what was the other one that they were talking about? Advil. There's another one. These are all blocking symptoms and covering up the fact that you need help elsewhere. It also, you know, really has a dumbing effect on your brain is what these findings. These findings suggest that acetaminophen has a general blunting effect on individuals' evaluative and emotional processing, irrespective of negative or positive valence. Not sure what that means. The implications are that this is pharmaceuticals' actions influence a single factor that interferes with emotional valuation and processing of both positive and negative exposures, survival mechanisms that we have evolved over millions of years. If it does all this after one dose and within 1 hour, pretty amazing stuff. So, you know, my recommendation is maybe stick with the type of aspirin that we have used for the last century. That seems to work pretty well. But there are a lot of other things that you can get rid of your aches and pains. Most aches and pains really come from inflammation. So reducing the inflammation, you can do that simply by diet. We have a highly inflammatory diet if you're eating the over-processed food that is part of our American dining experience. If you're doing the fast food ride, then that's even worse for you. But just generally going to the grocery store and getting the normal food that you get is a highly inflammatory experience, because grains, which is the basis for most processed food, is a highly inflammatory food. There are ways that we've learned that we can get over these things, but in the processed food industry, none of these normal things like fermenting and letting them age, letting them soak, making the grains sprout, all these things take away the phytic acid and the other toxins that are in there that make the grain edible. So just something to think about. Now, I ran across this article here, and let me put it up on the telestrator here. It is, whoops, I guess I lost it. Let me find it. It's all about walking and just about exercise in general. And what I want you to do is look at this. Walking for a better brain. So we just talked about how we're taking these drugs and they're really numbing our brain, but we're doing also a lot of different tests out there with people who are walking, especially the elderly. When you get into above 40 or 50, many, many years ago, exercise was kind of downplayed when you're over 40. In fact, there was a journalist I was reading that was in the 1909, Edward Paxton Weston. He was over 70 years old, averaging about 40 miles a day. Everybody thought he was a crazy guy. Well, there was a doctor saying that even, over 60 human beings in like the 1900s, they're pretty useless after 60 years old, even 40. You're ready to retire, put out the pasture, and after 60, you're useless to society, is what he was saying. Of course, we know better now because, well, heck, I'm 70, and I just feel like I'm beginning my life. And I hope that that's what you're doing, too. So what they're doing a lot of tests with, rats and things like that, but also a lot of tests with human beings, and showing there was one test done with a bunch of nurses, like 1,500 nurses, and they were saying that they were having many more. Here's a group of 121,000 nurses who were surveyed with a wide range of their health and life style habits, started in 1976, and the survey was repeated every 2 years, establishing a trove of valued information. So basically, they studied all these people and between the ages of 70 and 81, and finding that oh boy, shut off my phone here. Sorry about that. So they were showing that even as little as 6 hours a week, a huge difference in how they felt about themselves, how they were cognitively much more reactive to both negative and positive things. So you were able to get those evaluations just from adding a little bit of walking every single day. Yeah. There's another study that I was reading, and this was eating to break 100. And this was a study done in various different, it comes from this book called The Blue Zones. And the blue zone is a perfect area in the world there that people are living way past 100. And there's like 5 different zones in Asia, and one of them's the Himalayas, and one of them's in Italy. Anyway, what they're doing is we're finding out what these people are doing. And he, in his book, lists a bunch of things. Here's a taste of them. Stop eating when your stomach is about 80% full, and to avoid any weight gain. One of the things they do is eat smaller meals in the late afternoon or evening. Eat mostly plants, especially beans, they say, and meat rarely in smaller portions, 3 to 4 ounces, something that we talk about a lot. Blue zoners ate proportions of this size just 5 times a month on the average, so they ate less meat. They drank alcohol moderately and regularly, usually 1 or 2 glasses a day. And this one was in the region of, let me see, I guess this was all the regions. The regions are Okinawa, Japan. There's a Sardinia, Loma Linda, California, and in Costa Rica. They're one up in the peninsulas there in Costa Rica. These are all really blue zones. There's also in Greece. Yeah, I mentioned Greece. Okay. And Italy. And each of them eat different things. I mean, it's not like you're all eating the same thing. Some of them eat a lot more meat and milk. Some of them eat just plant food. Some of them are more higher in meat, but they all tend to do those particular things, and eating after a certain time, eating really small meals. Sugar most of the time is taboo. A lot of the things that they follow is eat small amounts of meat and fish. Yeah, a lot of the people state, I never eat refined sugar or drink any sodas. On the average, they're living 10 to 15 years longer. One woman they interviewed is now 107, and she's eating nothing but rice and beans, garnished with cheese, cilantro, and she uses on corn tortillas with an egg on the top. So they're eating basically a high-fat, low-protein, and moderate carbohydrate diet. So it's kind of interesting that all these studies come up with very similar things. And I don't think it really matters if you're a vegetarian or you're a vegan or if you're eating mostly meat. I think it really depends on having the purest food of all is the most important thing, and getting it straight from the source, getting plenty of exercise, living in an area, of course, that is more pristine, living in a major city that has a lot of pollution, of course, is going to be not good for you at all. In fact, we have so many toxins. One of the major toxins, and the article I read this morning was talking about Monsanto and how that the World Health Association now has come out with the claim that the organophosphates are really bad for us, especially our brain. And of course, we're talking about oil products, plastic, what's in the air. We're talking about the stuff that's in Roundup, that's being sprayed every single day. And they're also talking about that it can change your gender. We saw Bruce Jenner just this last week, I think, on the news, talking about his change and how he's going through that. This is kind of one of the bravest guys in the world coming out with this in front of people. It's tough things, but we do have answers, and I think the answer stands with working on ourselves, working on the food. I always say is the first thing that we have to work on, and that you can do yourself, and nobody else can control that for you. I think the government's trying very hard to control it in a sense by giving us all this advertising in the food that we shouldn't be eating. But we're smart enough to overcome that and do some research and find out what really is good food for you. Anyway, that's first segment. Be right back. I've got some really interesting stuff about Electric Universe coming up in the third segment of the show, so please stick around for that. I'll pick up some Primal Edge. Give me a call at 877-927-6648. I'll be right back. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investments, and whether you're bullish or bearish on Chinese stocks, the ETFs from Direction Shares are there to help you magnify your perspective. Bull ETFs for a rising market and bear ETFs for a falling market. Direction Shares gives you the tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Welcome back to the show, folks. Nico here on Living a Primal Lifestyle. Number is 877-927-6648. And Tom is on the line from Orlando, so let's go to Tom. Hey, Tom, how's it going today?
Hey, real good. Good to talk to you, Nico.
Nice to talk to you, too.
Sad that Paige is not there, but we like you too.
Well, thanks.
I appreciated you bringing up the thing about pain and inflammation, and I just don't have too much of that these days. I've been trying to live a healthier lifestyle for years, but a couple of things happened you might appreciate that might complement what you're saying there. Over a decade ago, I had a tooth had to be pulled because it broke, and I was already into anti-mercury, so I found an anti-mercury dentist who pulled it and also replaced one or two other mercury fillings in the mouth.
Yeah.
And he surprised me. He said, you might need something for pain, and don't use Tylenol. Use ibuprofen. And he said the reason was, and he was kind of against painkillers, being a natural practitioner, but you might have to have it at times. He said use the ibuprofen because it's also anti-inflammatory.
Right.
And so I've kind of switched away from Tylenol to ibuprofen. But I really hardly ever need either.
Yeah, me too. I used ibuprofen for a long time. Lately, I've actually not used anything like that, mostly attacking it with food or supplements. But that's the nice thing about ibuprofen. But I feel after a couple of days, I can really feel it in my stomach and my digestive system.
Yeah, it is toxic. Our liver tries to get any of that stuff out.
Yeah.
You know how Paige is a QRA practitioner, and
Yes.
I know a trainer of practitioners, and a couple of years ago, he turned me on to something that just blew me away, and every time I hear the word inflammation, my mind goes bing, bing, and that is, it's called earthing.
Right.
And if people go to earthing.com and just try to get in contact with the physical earth, the electrons we get from the earth into our body, through our body, actually resolve inflammation. Now, it may take a while, but it works.
I'll tell you, you can feel
it's free.
Yeah, and you can feel the results pretty fast, because when I go out and get in the paper, I always do it in bare feet, no matter what the weather is, and then I'll stand on the grass for a while, just maybe a minute or so, and I can really feel the difference.
That is so good. And the more hours a day we can spend grounded, the better. In fact, earthing.com has this information. They do sell products, but the products are, they allow, for example, I'm sitting at my desk in front of my computer watching you, and yet I have an earthing pad on the floor. My bare feet are on it.
Nice.
Plus, I have a special sheet in my bed so that I'm grounded all night long.
Right, yeah, I've seen those.
And it's just really good. So maybe that's why I don't have much pain these days.
I think that probably helps. Yeah, that's great.
But free is a good price, wouldn't you say? And so that's why the medical world doesn't like it, because it can't make any money off of it.
Yeah, and just going outside and breathing the great air, getting some sunshine, there's a lot of stuff that's free. In fact, the best things in life are free, they say. So.
Right, but if we just add barefootness, that will really help a lot. And we never knew that. I never knew why beach volleyball was so good for me, besides the exercise in the sun, but the bare feet was helping too.
Yeah, and girls in bikinis.
Well, thanks a lot, Nick.
Thanks a lot.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. That was nice. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate you calling always. Inflammation is something that we live with. I certainly, it was a funny thing. I was gardening yesterday in my backyard. My wife is gone, so taking a few to trim a few things. And I wake up this morning and my hand is swollen. I'm thinking to myself, here I am. I'm always grabbing things and grappling in really good shape, and do one thing that's a little bit different, and my hand swells up. There's the inflammation. I put some ice on it, and that relieved it right away. But it's funny how, there's different ways of getting inflammation. There's the way of getting it through food or getting things through medications, and most medications are inflammatory in a certain sense. They're always expanding instead of contracting. But also, you get hurt bumping into things or doing something different, and there's inflammation there. But then there's the other kind of inflammation. I know Tom knows about this too, is the inflammation that is there real low grade from taking things like the medications that we talk about, taking things that irritate you, taking grains that aren't properly prepared, taking food stuff. One of the supplements would be fast food. I call that kind of a supplement that's really deteriorates your health. These things are all inflammatory. So we can see how we get inflammation. It's just about everywhere. All the toxins that we breathe in, the glyphosates of the Roundup that we spray everywhere, and everybody's using that in the cracks of the sidewalk. We're spraying it in fields. This stuff is being used. In fact, the article I was reading here was tons and tons. It's the most produced herbicide in the world, and everybody's using it everywhere. And now, of course, there's many countries like India that are also anti-inflammatory too. Tiger Balm, my producer, is saying that Tiger Balm is a good way to do the inflammation too. There's a lot of good things. All natural, a lot of it's free, lots of it are inexpensive. Number here is 877-927-6648. I'll be right back.
You've heard Nico de Haan as co-host of Living a Primal Lifestyle, which airs every Friday at noon Eastern Time on TFNN, and would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8888 8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
No matter where you listen to TFNN programming, we want you to know you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones and iPads, located at the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a mobile connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all of our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and radio call and talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. Nico here on Living a Primal Lifestyle. I'm sitting here freezing. It's like 60 degrees here in the studio. Oh, boy, I'm telling you. Just need to roll around a little, and that would help me, I think. You know, I was reading this article from geology.com. According to NASA, comets contain hydrocarbons. Also found were chemicals never before seen in comets, such as iron-bearing components, hydrocarbons from barbecue pits and automobile exhaust type of things. Some comets contain massive amounts of organic material almost identical to high-grade oil shale. And they say that each cubic kilometer of oil would be 8 billion barrels. And they use the word plural here, so there has to be at least 2 on the comet that they were doing, which was that was Halley's Comet that they were looking at that time. They were doing a flyby. Usually, you know, we thought that comets were basically ice. And then we started doing these flybys of the different comets starting about 1989. And of the 150 different comets that we've been studying, and now we landed on one of them, it says that all of the 150 comets were rich in hydrocarbons, water, and ice. So kind of interesting that it's not exactly what we thought it was. Now, I've been following this guy, Michael Steinbacher. Here it's up on the telestrator. And he says the modern awareness that plasma composes most of the universe requires a re-evaluation of theories dating back from the earliest time. Plasma is electrically active and employs forces that can be many times stronger than those of mechanical erosion and tectonics. So what he's talking about is that we have to look at the geology of the world. And I was always a big fan of studying geology and geography and how the Earth was made and how these mountains were created. Of course, we learned in geology that, we have these tectonic plates. They rub against each other, shoving mountains up into the air and things. Here now, Electric Universe is coming up with a whole theory, and it really is not only changing the way we're thinking about how mountains and valleys and everything were created, but also the timeline, because we're talking millions of years in geology times, and the Electric Universe is talking about a time scale much, much shorter than that. In fact, we're human beings, we're seeing things in the sky that we don't see today. And this is about the whole concept of the Electric Universe, and that our universe, our solar system, and the Earth was totally different just thousands of years ago. Pretty interesting. So he comes up with this theory, and he's talking about that the mountains, just take some of the Badlands of the United States. If you go to the Badlands, or just take a picture of the Badlands, you see the big mountain rock, and about, say it's 10 or 15,000 feet high, and about 5,000 feet, the top part is all rock, and the rest of it you can see is sediment. Sediment, of course, that's soil that is coming down from the sky. And what he's talking about in this lecture, and if you go to the Thunderbolts Project, you'll find one of his lectures there. There's many of them. And he's introducing this whole topic about catastrophe geology, where things were happening on the Earth. And he goes back to a specific time in history when the Exodus was taking place, the original Exodus, which was thousands and thousands of years ago in the Hebrew literature. And there they describe a lot of catastrophes happening, rocks and sand and rivers of fire in the sky and things like that, something that we can't really relate to and we consider now more of a myth. But this type of description is also in Mexican folklore, in the Hopi Indians folklore, in many indigenous cultures all around the world. So they're all describing something happening, and maybe 5,000 to 10,000 years ago. So kind of recent. So I'm listening to the talk yesterday. He's talking about that Velikovsky, who wrote the book Worlds in Collision many, many years ago, I think back in maybe 40s or 50s. And he was one of the first ones that were really talking about the electric universe, that the sun is an electric entity, and that the energy the sun gets comes from space itself. And that so the sun is not a nuclear bomb or an atomic bomb always going off. It's more electric, like an electric globe. And it kind of just makes more sense to me, and that's why I started following all these people on the electric universe, like the Auspicious Observer and all these other people. So I'm listening to him, and he's describing a world where originally we were in a much different world. The world was much darker, kind of a purple hue. And then something started to happen where a comet comes in, and it could be, and they were thinking maybe it's the planet Venus, came very close to Earth, and there was an electrical charge going between them. And in fact, there was an exchange of materials. So a lot of these materials could be coming from asteroids or planets or comets and raining down on the Earth. And if you know what a welded tuff is, a welded tuff is basically stuff that drifts down from welding, hot material, and it goes down to the ground and it solidifies. If it goes in the water, of course, it just becomes dust, but if it's collecting on a hard surface, then it just collects up and it looks like little mountains coming up. And if you're picturing this happening, this stuff raining down, if the wind is blowing, it would blow all on the windward side, and the leeward side of the mountain would be exposed because it would go over that part. And if you're looking at the Rockies, if you're looking at the San Gabriel Mountains or the Santa Anas, you can see those different layers. And of course, our normal way of thinking would be that these things were pushed up. But if you look specifically like at the mountains on LA, they know that this is molten rock. There's a big slab of molten rock there that make up those mountains. Underneath that is all sediment, hundreds of feet of sediment. So how does a rock being pushed up from the bottom have sediment underneath it? Doesn't work that way. So naturally, this rock was put there afterwards, and this is how they think it was going. So we have all this molten stuff being, just. And there was another part that was really interesting too, is because the Earth's spinning, the water that's at the equator is about 17 miles higher than the rest of the Earth. So you picture a comet coming by, slowing the spin of the Earth, maybe stopping the rotation, and when the rotation, the centrifugal force stops and the water dissipates. And what you see in the west is you see that sediment up maybe 10,000 feet high, and then the rest of it's bare rock, so the water was up to where the sediment was. Otherwise, those layers wouldn't be here. So this kind of shakes up the whole, everything that we learned as it was with geology and the tectonic plates. And maybe that stuff is going on too, I don't know. But this certainly changes, and the timeline is what's really interesting, because now we're talking about something that happened in maybe the last 10,000 years, not millions and millions of years ago. So what these people were describing in ancient times that are written on the cave walls, maybe written in scrolls, things like the Exodus from Israel, the initial ones, because remember, the Jewish people were really good at recording things. That's what they're good at. They're good at recording numbers. They're good at recording facts. Not so good at doing the other manual labor and things like that. So that's why it became really a race of really smart people that were into numbers and into documenting things and keeping track of things. So when we hear of all the different myths around the world and all the different documentations of, maybe even the Bible, where it says, all of a sudden there was light. When you think about this comet coming by and the Earth was rather dark, and now all of a sudden our orbit changes, and all of a sudden we've got the sun being the bright thing instead of Saturn, which used to be the sun. Anyway, I just wanted to explain this stuff to you so you could kind of look at this yourself. So you can go to the Thunderbolts Project, look up the Electric Universe, look up Michael Steinbacher, Steinbacher, look up him and listen to some of his talks. Kind of an interesting guy. What I really like about him, he's kind of scientist that has an open door policy, and he's kind of saying, well, we're going around and we take maybe a week to 10 days and go around and look at these different areas of the country. And I says, I like to have, my buddies with me, the scientists who are real into it, but I also like some novices, people who are interested in, and you want to come by, give me a call or email me, and we'll arrange for you to come by. Anybody who's interested, I'm interested in talking to. That's kind of a neat thing today. And he says, of course, you pay your own expenses and things like that, but what a great opportunity. And I'd love to do something like that myself if I ever had the opportunity to do that. Okay, let's get on to a couple of other things. One of the things I wanted to mention was I ran across this interesting article that talks about education and the death of creativity. Is it a coincidence that pretty much all children love to write stories, have fantastic imaginations, enjoy getting messy, painting, making music, inventing characters, acting out plays, drawing, and making things? Why don't we carry this natural capacity through at adulthood? And why would we nurture these types of gifts that children have? It seems like what we're doing is really dumbing down our population. About 8 years ago, a man named Ken Robertson made a TED speech on the topic of education. And he really talked about how we were really dumbing down. He says many creative, brilliant, talented people think they're not, because everything they were good at school hasn't got any value. They weren't stimulated. He says, all children have tremendous talent and we squander them pretty much ruthlessly. Picasso once said that all children are born artists. The problem is to remain an artist as we grow up, because we want to pigeonhole our people. We want to really, you know, and I really remember as a child, something that devastated me. I think I was about 10 years old. And my grandfather was a painter and an artist and was always drawing. So when I was watching him, I would like to draw. So I entered my first day of art class and really enjoyed it. So I went home and I said, you know, I want to draw something. And I asked my grandfather about it. You know, what's the best way to draw? He said, well, take a picture of something simple or something that you're interested in and try to draw that. And he says, do it on a different scale so it looks a little bit different. So I had a comic book and I had my Lone Ranger comic book and I was looking at it and there was a big picture of Trigger there. So I started drawing the Trigger and it really came out nice and it was much larger than the comic book. And so I took it to school and I had it sitting down on my desk, and before the teacher could see it, some kid says, you traced that, you had to trace that. And the teacher came up to me and took it from me and ripped it up and says, we don't allow tracing in here. You go sit on the back of the class, you know. And I was devastated. I mean, here's something that I created all by myself, and it was interpreted wrong, and it really stopped me from really enjoying my art class and probably stopped me from going into the direction of being an artist. So, you know, think about how you interact with children, and or even just if you're a teacher, you know, that you really have to be careful how you say negative things to people, because, you know, I still remember things like that. You know, you always remember the negative things so well. It's so nice to get complimented on things, but we sometimes don't. Here's another interesting thing. An article, and the name of this is Swearing is Emotional and Creative. Language is creative language, say researchers. And they're really talking about that people who swear when they're angry and that are much more descriptive. Their brain is much more active, and it shows the reasons for swearing are far more complicated than simply rudeness, they say. And this was taking place at the Keele University in Staffordshire in Britain, of course. We don't do these types of things in America, it seems. He said they were doing experiments with kids. The video games made people feel more aggressive, so their language became more emotional. This explains swearing, and it makes it more acceptable. And that's true. Swearing is becoming much more acceptable in the language. I never thought too much about swearing. I use swear words a lot sometimes. Sometimes I don't. You know, I think you have to be careful of the people around you, and because, you know, people react differently to it. To me, it never made any sense. If you're going to make up a language, how many swear words would you put in there? I mean, and how many words that you can't say? I always remember George Carlin talking about the 7 words you can't say on TV, and that was, you know, he was such a brilliant guy that can make humor out of this. But that was one of those things that I think we do. I think we do take the creativity out of our children. I think we do it with our disciplinary methods. I think we do it with our how we teach our children in school, how we separate ourselves from our children, how we separate the children from the older people. I think a segregation is one of the main things that is a problem in our society, especially through the age. We have communities that are strictly adult. It just doesn't make any sense from a perspective of us living together and being together always. So, just my take on it, folks. Anyway, I guess we got one more segment coming up, so please stick around. The number here is 877-927-6648. Please take time to look at my Health Signals newsletter, and also please take time to pick up some Primal Edge, and I'll be right back. You know what's cool? taking something that's good for you, something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Do you know the 7 most critical factors that influence every decision you make, and how not knowing these will jeopardize the health, the wealth, and the relationships you deserve? I'm Steve Rhodes, morning host of TFNN.com, and for the last quarter of a century, I've studied and used the secrets of human growth, the same formulas used by leaders of nations, billionaires and millionaires, and the most successful athletes on the planet. Would you like to break through any obstacle that gets in between you and the success you deserve? Would you like to turn fear into strength? If you could find a way to achieve, be fulfilled, and live a life of meaning, wouldn't you want to know the answer? I'll teach you the factors that control your state of mind and the drivers that impact every thought, emotion, behavior, and action we take in my new webinar, The Psychology of Trading. Join me for this 2-part online event where I'll unveil the secrets to human pattern recognition, because they're not what you think. And soon, you'll have the health, the wealth, and the relationships you deserve. Just go to the homepage of TFNN.com and click on The Psychology of Trading to begin your journey now.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. Nico here on Living a Primal Lifestyle. There was this TED Talk for More Wonder, Rewild the World. This was George Monbiot. He tells how the introduction of wolves at Yellowstone National Park had a dramatic positive effect on the entire ecosystem. Wolves reduced the number of deer, which allowed overgrazing land to recover, which allowed trees to grow thicker and taller, which supported increased population of birds, which has supported a general recovery of the biological diversity in the park. So it's about a 15-minute talk, very interesting, and he talks about that we should, not only rewild all the parks and everything like that, but we should start rewilding our whole world. Some places are being or will be rewilded on their own as humans abandon them for political, economic, and environmental reasons. But reintroducing megafauna would require the kind of massive collective actions our fractured political systems are no longer able to produce. It's a nice thought to do that. Of course, we can do this individually, but I was reading an article here, How Farms Became the New Suburb. At the cusp of the Great Depression, well, let me not read that there. Let me just go right into this whole thing. There's a community that are doing it, and this is the woods of Chattahoochee Hills County, southwest of Atlanta. It's a 1,000-acre suburb, Eden, comprised of 2 neighborhoods. And they are building it with agriculture in mind. Not so much agriculture, but gardening. In other words, there's going to be large plots of land that everybody can use for growing their food. And talking about markets, and they're building, one is called Ye Old English Village-Style Town Center. The hamlets are shaped like omegas to conform with the undulations of the land. Peach and pecan trees shoot up from the sidewalk. Goats and llamas browse in the dells, and lambs caper about the walking trails and curl through the glens and glades. Everything has been planned. Cottages and co-ops are being built to energy-efficient earthcraft specs. Wastewater is filtered through a biological treatment system and reused for agriculture. The town centers are dotted with upscale market galleries, nonprofit cultural institute stages, and they get sponsors to do this. They are producing a farm that produces 350 types of organic fruits, vegetables, herbs, and flowers. So a lot going on there. A lot of pictures in this thing too. I'm not going to have time to show you all of them, but this is kind of happening everywhere, and it's cool because I think one of the things we should do is probably give the American Indians something better than just the reservations. Why don't we give them all their the state parks and the federal parks, and let them, this was theirs to begin with anyway. Why not let them manage these things? They have all their Indian lands too, so I think the more that we can donate and rewild, I'd love to see some rewilding going on in Clearwater, down in the downtown area. We've got a whole space down there of empty stores and things like that. Maybe we could rewild some of those things, but maybe not. Who knows? Folks, that's it. Please pick up my Health Signals newsletter. I didn't have time to really go into it too much, but there's so much in there. In fact, on the last page, there's a special little podcast there from a rewilder himself, and he's a guy that uses lots of herbs and stuff in medicine, and he talks about how to use them and why he's doing it and where to find these things. You might find that interesting. But the whole newsletter is packed full of things that you need to know. Pick up some Primal Edge, please, so you feel better and you get healthy. That's what we want. Okay, Paige will be back next week. I'm excited to see her again. It's no fun doing the show alone, but you guys made it worthwhile. Tom, appreciate you calling in. You guys have a fabulous weekend. I'll see you Monday or next Friday. Bye.
Basil Chapman has just announced 2 live workshops that he'll be hosting April 28th and May 5th that only subscribers to his opening call will gain access to. On April 28th, Basil will host a 45-minute live online workshop, The Essentials of the Chapman Wave, where he'll teach the basics of the Chapman Wave notation that Basil created and uses daily in his trading and newsletter recommendations. On May 5th, Basil will host a second 45-minute workshop where this time he'll revisit the 1929 market comparison webinar and provide his attendees with an updated take on the socio-economic trends Basil has spotted currently taking place. If you're an opening call subscriber already, then your seat is already reserved. If not, then sign up for a 30-day free trial to the opening call today. You get a month of Basil's daily newsletter, The Opening Call, along with 2 live workshops coming up. Don't miss out on this offer. Sign up for Basil Chapman's opening call newsletter today on the front page of TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.